All right, so what we're going to do is run through this real quick. And we talked about how we were going to get our pipeline in the last video stage to trigger this action, to create this action of hail trace, right? So remember, the pipeline stage will change. We select the appropriate account that's going to be yours. I'm using the status of booking requested to be the trigger. So when somebody moves to booking requested, that's when that's going to happen. As you can see here, these would be the ones that are triggered. And what we're going to do is go back to our Zapier again. And what we're going to do is go ahead and select that one like we did. And what I'm going to do is continue. I go down and I hit continue. And we go to our post command, our webhook for post, right? So what we're going to do is post this. I've shared here HailTrace API. Here's our customer information. And I'm going to pause for a second to get past the API key. And at this stage, what you're going to do is test your action. So when you test your action, it's going to send it out and it's going to go ahead and create a order placed. You can see that it gives you a temporary URL here. Now, this URL is a unique key that expires. I want you to know that. So in other words, this URL do not use in your automations. It's going to create a problem down the road. You're going to want to somehow replace this URL, which I'm going to get into right here. Now, if I actually go and put this up here, I'll see that I created my hail trace report. There it is, nice and beautiful. I'm able to see the most recent hail date. I'm able to see what's going on. Now, we can make this prettier and work on it. Look, this is a concept that I'm proving to you of how to generate a lead. And right now, remember the most important thing. You've now gotten the homeowner's address, name. You've also gotten their contact info. You've also created awareness about the fact that they had some damage. This follows the Hermosi principle of the awareness side, right? So this solves that. You could see these different things. And if you attach, let's just say, a simple video that explains what they're looking at, or you set up a Loom video, something like that, it's going to help. Now, I'm going to go back into here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue. Now, remember, I told you that because you order the report, there is a delay. So the action in Zapier is going to continue super fast. We want to create a pause. So we're using this delay feature here for a minute. It doesn't have to be a lot. HailTrace does a great job of running stuff pretty quick. I have not noticed an issue with keeping a minute delay. You could increase this for safety's sake to 2-3 minutes if you want to, but I'm going to go ahead and just put a minute there. And there you go. So there, I have that. Now I continue the upload. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to upload it to my Google Drive. I happen to use Google Drive. You can use Dropbox. You can use whatever you use. I use Google Drive. So what I want to do is I create a folder and I want to stick this file in there. And I want to put it in a PDF format. Why do I want to do this? Again, that old URL expires. It has a token. It has a key. There's some different factors there. We're not going to mess with that. We're going to put it in a drive so I can share it with whoever I want to do. So I go in here and I do this. And when I retest this step, you're going to see it creates some data here. This data is what we're going to utilize. So you see here, it's giving a self-link, a download URL, self-link, parent link, blah, blah, blah. It gives all this stuff in return. This is Google Drive, guys. And what we're going to do is we're going to continue. We're going to go back to our lead connector, which again is the connection between BUMS.AI, Go HighLevel, and this, right? Now, lead connector is by Go HighLevel. It's basically their way of making it vanilla when people like me that are white labeling it don't want to tell you that it's HighLevel in the background. We're pretty transparent. You can do a lot of this inside of HighLevel. This next step, I don't believe you can easily. You can, but just not the way we do it. So we're going to add a contact or update. I select my account. I'm going to use the phone number and I'm going to use the email as my tokens to find the person. So what's going to do is look up and say, does this email match? Okay. Does this phone number match? And it's going to tag the two contacts together rather than creating a duplicate contact. What we're going to do is go down. There's a few other things that you have to know here. One thing to remember is mark as lead should always be marked as true or false. If you leave this blank, it will not work. Your automation will fail. As you go down, what you do is HailTrace link. I'm going to use the alternate link. Where did I get this alternate link? Up here in the step from Google Drive, when it created that test, one of these returns is the alternate link, right? And that's what I'm trying to grab from them and use that. And I go here, and during this part, what I'm going to do is say, I want to place this link where? I have a field called HailTrace. This is on BUMS.AI. You'd have to create this on your own. You could go create a custom field, add it for each contact, set it up under the right folder. and then make it a single text line. And you can do this, but it wouldn't give you the same effect. What we're going to do is go continue. And here's what we have here. And I'm going to say publish. Oh, I'm sorry. Before I do that, I'm going to retest that action. And I've tested it and it says it's a success. And I'm going to go ahead and publish this meanwhile. But what we're going to do is go into our BUMS.AI. I'm going to click on Tony Stark. And what I should see, if I did this right, is that in HailTrace field, you can see here that you have that URL that was sent. Now, you can see here this open button, open in Google Drive, and you see up here these buttons. Now, this is also a BUMS exclusive, the little URL thing. If I press it, it's going to do what? It's going to open up that file, and that's great. But I want it to be more simple, so I've created this button here. So if I hit HailTrace, it's going to do the exact same thing. They both work. If you're using HighLevel natively, it will not have a clickable link at the point of me making this video. So you can't click this link. You're not going to have this button. You're not going to have that button, right? So that's going to become kind of an issue, convenience issue. Now, the next step for us is taking this and turning this into an automation, replying to that original customer that was inquiring. So that's going to be another automation that we're going to create. So we're going to go into Tools and Automagic. And what we're going to do is create a new workflow. And that new workflow, let's start from scratch, is going to be, let's call this all right. And what I'm going to do here is say when a contact is changed, add a filter. I'm going to say that the HailTrace has changed, right? So in other words, the HailTrace field has changed. That's when this is going to trigger. So I'm going to save that right there. And we're going to move on with our actions. Our actions are going to be now something like, let's try it a couple different ways. I'm going to share it with you 2 different ways. I'm going to send an SMS to the customer. So I'm going to put something like, hey, customer, first name. Here is your Hail report for, and I'm going to try to put in their, let's just say their first address. And then please take, so let's do this. Here's your report. And then let's go ahead and put in a custom value, custom fields right here, HailTrace report. So that's going to create the link. Now what I'm going to do is go down and assign it with my location. So I can just use my account name, or I can type it in manually, Boss Up Solutions, whatever I want. So I'm going to save that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm also going to go ahead and send an email out. And the email is going to be from, and I can put whatever I want. So let's say I want to do Kate from Boss Up Solutions from email. This is the email I use. Subject, Hail report for, and then I can put in the contact address, right? So that will be there, boom. And then what I'm going to do is, here is your report. Now, again, you guys, you're going to want to make this email fancier, and I will in the next video. I'm not getting into copyright right now. We'll have a video about that. What I want to explain to you is the process. So what I'm going to do is here, make sure I put in, remember, contact, custom fields, HailTrace. There's my link, right? Now I can copy this link and I can go something like report here. I can highlight it, hit the link button, add this right here, and this works, and it'll create that report here, right? And then I can put in my signature and all that fun stuff. We'll just skip that for right now. Now remember, if I wanted to make this look human, I might put a small wait here and put in like a 1-minute delay, something of that nature, and I save it. Now what I can do is also follow up with another action. I could say wait, let's just say we wait 0.2 minutes. And then let's say I took the time to create a Loom video for this. I'm not right now. I'm just going to share this with you and say, here is a how to on reading your report. And then I could just put in www.loom.com. Let's just, for right now, use that. Right? And I save that. And maybe in there, I also want to mention loom.com. I also shared this info to your email, right? And I put that in there, and I want to publish it, and I save it. Now let's go ahead and test that real quick. Let's test that workflow. And what I'm going to do is grab Tony Start. We're going to run this test, right? And I'll be able to check this in my execution logs. If I go over here, what I'll be able to do is look over here. So we're in the wait time, right? So if I go back to the builder here, what I'm going to see is that it's waiting. If you create a long wait and you want to test your automations, guys, here's a cool way. You just hit move step. It'll move that step, skip that minute in this case, which isn't that bad. But maybe you had to wait for 48 hours or something like that, right? So you don't want to do that. Now, if I go back to my execution logs, I can go ahead and see that it sent the email. It skipped the SMS. So why did it skip the SMS? We're curious what happened. If I open this up, I'm going to see skipped no phone number. So you see how I was able to kind of combat that by sending the email, because the form that I had the customer fill out had no phone number on it. So it skipped that step. So it's very important to understand, but I built it in there because if I had their phone number, it would still go there. And we'll test it again here in 1 second. We'll add a number. So now if I let's go to our contact, let's go to Tony. And if I take a look, you're going to see that this email went out. Now, here's the link. If I click it, it will open up the report like you saw. But one thing I want you to notice here, and remember, this is a test, but it's important to notice because this will happen in reality, is I used Tony at test. It's a bad email, so it was unsuccessful. No big deal. Let's change this now. Let's update a little information here on our contact. Now remember, if your customer put in bad information, they're not going to get it either. Unfortunately, that is what it is. I'll use my cell phone number here, guys. That's my real cell phone number. No big deal. It's saying that it doesn't allow duplicates, so let me change that. Actually, here, let's do this. Let's back up. Let's delete me from the actual location. Right? So I'm gone now. So now I should be able to go in here and let's go ahead and Tony@BossUpSolutions.com. And I'm going to put in 847. And it auto saves. This is another BUMS.AI exclusive. It auto saves the information, which is great. Instead of having to go down and put save and all that nonsense, it doesn't do that. Let's go back to our automation that we just created. Here's the one that we created. I'm going to test it again. I'm going to drop down and grab Tony Stark, and we're going to run that test again. And remember that delay. So I'm just going to refresh this page. And what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and move that person from that delay. Let's look at our execution logs. What happened? Okay, this is important. It was skipped. Why was it skipped? Contact is already part of his workflow. Can't be added again, right? That's because that contact was part of that workflow. What we need to do is go in our settings, allow re-entry. You might not want this, but I know a lot of times when you're testing, this is a very important field to leave on, because the fact that you're going to find quite a bit of, when you're testing stuff, you're going to try stuff 1 or 2 times to make it work. So it's good to keep this on and later decide if you want to keep it on or not. In the case of this automation, I would probably turn it off. I don't want somebody turning on a bot and running 47 hail trace reports. That would kind of be annoying to me and them. But let's go ahead and save that for now for our testing sake. I'm going to go in here, test my workflow, Tony Stark. I'm going to run my test. And now if I go to my execution log, you can see the waiting. I'll go back. I see my guy. I'm impatient. I'm going to forward him. And he's now moving through. So let's go make our way back to the contact, right? So let's go to our contact. And I'm going to drop down to Tony here. So let's see what's happening in Tony. So number 1, I'm sending out this email. It says delivered, accepted, another BUMS.AI exclusive. You're able to see those features there. I believe Heltress might be adding something like that, but this is from us. Here's your report email. Great. And if you look at the text, hey, Tony, here's your hail trace report, hail report for this address. Here's the link. Here's our address. Boom, delivered to their text, delivered to their email, and you can then create a new follow-up campaign behind this. So super cool. Hopefully that helps you understand a little bit about how it works and how we get this lovely button here to start doing this and creating this. So this is my take at creating awareness, and I really like it. And we'll be doing more with this as we continue to put this together.